there's a lot of stress and anxiety that a lot of people have around the holidays because there's a lot kind of working against you if you are trying to lose weight in particular, if you're trying to burn fat. The winter time can sometimes just be really hard for doing that. The days are shorter, it gets darker sooner, so we naturally feel more tired, and it's harder to get up and go to the gym after work, if you work out after work, or before work, because it's dark before and after work, right? And then with the holidays, there's all kinds of yummy treats around. So what happens with a lot of people during this time of year is that they tend to exercise less and they tend to eat more. And what that means is a little bit of weight gain, or a lot of bit of weight gain, depending on, how controlled you are about it. Whether that's happened to you in the past, or if that's happening to you now, or you're afraid of that happening to you in the future, I wanted to take a few moments as a personal trainer to give you some of my professional tips for how I encourage my clients to navigate the holidays so that they can stay on track with their fitness goals, and also navigate if they do end up gaining weight or, not moving forward as quickly as they would like in their fitness journey. So today's episode is all about how to navigate the holidays on a fitness journey. And I'm going to give you some tips for navigating all of the unique challenges that this time of year brings for people who are on a fitness journey. And I'm also going to give you some words of wisdom and encouragement, what I tell my clients to help them to navigate this season emotionally and mentally. Welcome to the Coaching Corner podcast. I'm Jade Harrison, aka Jade Gaines. I've been a personal trainer for over 10 years, and I've created this podcast to share with you tips for eating better, getting strong, and burning fat without shame and without burnout. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to navigate the holidays when you're on a fitness journey. Because this is a time of year where a lot of people get anxious about losing their gains, losing progress, or going backwards. As a personal trainer, I have to have this conversation with all of my clients around this time of year to help them to go into the holidays feeling less anxious and more confident in their fitness progress. And before we get into the episode, make sure to like this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening to this podcast, make sure to follow the channel so that you always get the latest episodes delivered right to your device. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. It's totally normal to feel some anxiety around this time of year. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the holidays, it's the best time of the year. And I mean, that's not really true for everyone, okay? Including myself. I personally just really hate this time of year for, various reasons. Things have happened around this time of year in my personal life that, I got to deal with, and, memories of deaths in the family, problems that I've had with, people who are close to me. And this time of year is when a lot of that stuff tends to kind of come up. And so that emotional pressure also puts a lot of pressure on me and my personal fitness journey as well. So my number one piece of advice for heading into the holiday season is to know yourself, right? You want to go into this season really aware of the things that are going to make it difficult for you so that you're not caught by surprise. Because there are things going on right now that are unique challenges, and they're going to put pressure on your system, right? So you need to know what specific challenges affect you and how they tend to affect you. For the holiday season here in the United States, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's cold, the days are shorter, and there's holiday treats. Everybody's bringing in cookies and snacks and, treats for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all kinds of holidays are happening this time of year. New Year's Eve, so there's a lot of social obligations you might have for holiday parties at work or friends or with family, which means that you're not going to have total control over what you're eating all the time or what food is available or what food is in front of you all the time. Which, if you have been on a fitness journey, especially if you've been on a fat loss journey and you're used to meal prepping, meal planning, and planning out what you eat, tracking what you eat, this time of year is going to be really challenging because you're not always going to have, you're not going to know ahead of time what food is going to be available at this Christmas party or this holiday party, or what people are going to bring, And, what people are going to bring to work. A lot of times the break room will have cookies in it or something like that this time of year, right? And that's going to be a unique challenge that you have to kind of be aware of how it might affect you. Are you the type of person that, like, if you see food, you're going to eat it, right? If it's put in front of you, are you going to eat it? This is going to be a challenge for you and an opportunity maybe for you to work on developing that discipline and doing some work around like that habit of, not being able to resist food that's put in front of you. So we have, the treats are a main issue. And if you know that you have a particular sensitivity to that, then you're going to have to go into this season with a plan in place for how you're going to navigate that. So so you're not caught off guard, right? So know yourself, know how the different parts of this season are going to affect you. A lot of people are affected by seasonal depression. When the days get shorter and there's more darkness, a lot of people have a lot of trouble, feeling motivated to go to the gym and exert a lot of energy. You might be feeling more tired. That's a totally normal thing to experience this time of year, right? And you may also be experiencing some sadness. This time of year is a reminder sometimes of people who we love who may have passed, that we normally would see this time of year. So know yourself and know how you tend to deal with or be, affected by the various factors that are in play at this time of year. And then number 2 is to have a plan in place for how you're going to navigate those challenges. For instance, if you know that you're going to be going to some holiday parties and there's going to be probably alcohol, lots of sweet treats, and you're likely to consume a lot of calories, then you need to, prepare for that ahead of time, decide how you're going to navigate it. If you're trying to burn fat, if you're trying to stick to a certain number of calories, there are a couple of different strategies that you can use to stick with your calorie goal when you're going to be going to like a holiday party or you're going to, have extra treats around. One is that you just make sure that you eat ahead of time something that's like really protein dense and maybe low calorie ahead of time before the party. So you're going into the party not hungry and you're already kind of like full of protein and the things that your body needs. That way, if you do end up eating some treats, you're probably not going to eat as much and you're probably not going to have as many calories and you're going to get fuller faster because you already have some protein dense food in your stomach, right? If you know that you're going to have a hard time working out after you get home from work because it's dark outside and, going from your home to the gym, right? If you know that's going to be really hard for you to get up off the couch once you get home, then you might need to change your workout routine where you're going directly to the gym before you ever go home, right? That way you don't have that downtime of like getting cozy at home and then having to force yourself to leave. Or you may have to change your workout schedule so that you're working out before work or maybe on your lunch break when you still have energy, right? So you want to have a plan in place for how you're going to navigate the challenges that are unique to you that you might, experience during this time of year. Another strategy, if you're going into like a holiday party, for instance, is, a lot of times there's a spread of food at these things or maybe like it's at a restaurant or something, and you can still kind of choose better foods that are going to put less calories on your plate and less calories in your system. Making sure that you're choosing food items, basically keep the healthy plate model in your mind and try to select foods from the spread that more or less line up with the healthy plate model. As a reminder, the healthy plate model, basically you divide your plate in half and on half of the plate, you fill up with vegetables or some kind of vegetable-heavy dish. And then on a fourth of your plate, you fill it up with something that's rich in protein, a protein-dense food, ideally low calorie. And then on the remaining quarter of the plate is where you have your starchy grains, your starchy vegetables, right? And so if you follow like that kind of model for like how much of each type of food you're selecting, then you can reduce the amount of calories that you're taking in at that holiday party. So you can go into the holiday party strategically thinking about the healthy plate model. So when you're like choosing foods that you're gonna eat, structure it as the healthy plate model, because that will allow you to stay within your goals or help you to stay more closely aligned to your goals. You're likely not going to be able to track everything, right? When you go into social gatherings like this, you're not gonna be able to track everything. You're not gonna be able to track it super accurately. So you kind of have to know that going into it, that you're gonna have to kind of guesstimate and just try to approximate the healthy plate model or approximate close to what you would eat to hit your calorie goals. But one thing I do want to caution you against is what a lot of people will do. And this can work, but it also can backfire. Sometimes people will just like starve all day to save calories for their holiday party. And this might work. It could work for you, but it could also really badly backfire. The hungrier you are going into the function, the more likely you are to overeat and overconsume. So that's why I typically recommend make sure that you eat before the party, especially something that's like protein dense and low in calorie. That way you're less likely to overconsume because you're not feeling quite so hungry, right? And then also make sure that you're eating protein throughout the day and especially early in the day. Protein is a natural appetite suppressor, and it's what your body needs anyway to help you build muscle and burn fat more effectively. And set boundaries for yourself, right? If someone pressures you to eat or drink something, remember that you can say no, and no is a complete sentence. There's going to be a lot of social pressure depending on the social situation or how your family is, and know that you're an adult and you can make decisions for yourself about what you eat, right? You're allowed to not eat the stuff that's at that party or that gathering. Like, you do not have to eat everything. You don't. If someone wants to pressure you because they spent all this time on like making this pie or whatever, that's not your fault, right? They chose to do that. They chose to make that food. And you can decide to have something small, like you can have a little bit of it, but if they pressure you to have more, you're allowed to say no. It's not your responsibility to like make that person feel better for the time that they chose to spend on, making these foods that maybe don't align with your plan, right? You're allowed to say no. So you're allowed to set boundaries for yourself. So go into that, with that. So you know yourself, number one, but then also have a plan in place for how you're going to navigate the unique challenges. But then number three, give yourself some grace. Like, really be realistic about your expectations. Sometimes people will go into the holiday season and just know that, I'm likely going to eat more right now, and I'm going to likely not exercise as much. And that's okay. That's part of the plan. A lot of people use the holiday season as an opportunity to really bulk and use the extra calories to build muscle, where they'll work out harder. They might not do as many workouts because they might not want to put as much time into it, but the workouts that they do are harder, and they really focus on burning out their muscles and put those extra calories to use. So sometimes you got to go into it knowing, like, with everything I have going on, it's likely that I'm going to gain a little bit of weight. But when the seasons start to change, I have a plan in place for how I'm going to, phase maybe into a fat loss phase, and maybe cut back a little bit. Know that going into the holiday season, you are allowed to just give yourself permission to relax a little bit and enjoy the holidays. You don't need to be in a fat loss phase forever. I don't think that you should be in a fat loss phase forever and be really restrictive of your calories forever. You shouldn't be living like that year round every year. At the end of the day, we're human beings, we are animals, and we are cyclical beings. We have seasons of life, just like any other creature. And just like other creatures, you may have to accept the fact that there's going to be certain times of the year where your body fat percentage might be higher, And then there's other times of the year where your body fat percentage may be lower. And that's okay, and that's healthy. You can still be fit and also put on a little bit of weight. If you do end up putting on a little bit of weight, it's not that big of a deal because you can just work it off, as soon as the seasons change and you don't have as many, demands on your time or your energy. Like, it is okay for you to have a season where you're a little bit heavier. In fact, that's what a lot of gym goers do. They plan to bulk in the winter, and then they cut in the spring, and then they are lean during the summer and the fall, and then they bulk in the winter. And so that, knowing yourself and your capacity going into the holiday season, the amount of discipline that it might take for you to continue to eat exactly amount of calories for fat loss, and the amount of exercise that you would need to stick to, just be realistic about it. Don't set yourself up for failure by setting goals for yourself during the season, knowing that it's going to be really hard for you to stick to those. You may be able to grit it out and be fine. I know plenty of people who do. But at the same time, you're allowed to enjoy some time eating a little bit more, enjoy your treats. You don't have to go crazy, because remember, your body reflects what you do most of the time. The 80-20 rule is a thing. So if most of the time you're eating, according to the healthy plate model, you're eating the amount of calories that your body needs for maintenance or for fat loss, taking a break, a diet break, or having a treat day, or a treat week, or a treat, 2 weeks, is not going to have the amount of impact that you think it will and set you back so far. Because a lot of people have this fear that if they do go off plan and enjoy the holidays, that they're going to end up right back where they started from the very beginning. And that fear starts to set in. But that's not the case, especially if you've been on this journey for a while. If you have set up the habits, if you've established them, and you've had it going strong for a couple of months, taking a little bit of time off for the holidays to enjoy some extra calories, some treats, maybe drink a little bit of alcohol, eat a little bit more sugar, it's not going to undo an entire year's worth of progress. So trust your body to bounce back after you enjoy the holidays, if that's a choice that you make, right? And keep in mind though that, I'm a personal trainer and I am accepting clients. So if you want a little bit of help navigating this season and also getting back on track once the holiday season is over, you can check out my Fat Loss Transformation Coaching Program. I'm accepting clients for both the 90-day version or 3-month version and the 6-month version. And during this program, I'm going to help you to learn how many calories your body needs to eat in order to burn fat and keep it off for good. I'm also going to help you to build a healthy exercise routine that works for you. And I'm going to teach you how to change your routines around food and around exercise according to the season of your life that you're in. I have a client right now who's in the program who met her fat loss goal halfway through, and we adjusted her amount of calories that she's eating and her exercise plan because she met her fat loss goal, and now we're focusing on building muscle, and she's eating a little bit more. And she had a little bit of anxiety going into that because she's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna end up where I started because I'm eating more, right? But she was able to work through that and stick to her goals with my help. So that's something that I do. And I am taking on clients, so feel free to apply to work one-on-one with me because that's open and it's available to you. So I hope that you found this discussion helpful. Please don't sweat it if you do end up, having a treat day or having a few extra calories here and there over the course of the holidays, because you're not going to lose all of your progress. But, if it's something that, you're concerned about, first know yourself and know what unique struggles you have and make a plan for how you're going to navigate that. And don't forget that I'm here to help you if you need some help with that. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Coaching Corner podcast. Again, I'm Jade Harrison, aka JD Gaines.
I hope that you found this episode helpful, and if you did, make sure to leave a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure to follow the channel so you get the newest episodes as soon as they drop. If you're interested in working with me or checking out my products and services, head to my website, jdgains.com. That's JAYDIGAINS.com. Check out my membership site with exclusive tips and downloadable meal plans, recipes, and training programs. Links for all of that are in the show notes or in the video description below if you're watching on YouTube, and you can also find more information for them on my website, jdgains.com. I'll see you in the next episode. In the meantime, take good care of yourself. Make sure that you are drinking your water, eating your veggies, eating your protein, and prioritize your self-care. And I will see you soon.